Princess, and welcome to this latest live video. So, today we are going to be talking about the energies over the next few months. There are a couple of times I thought, maybe I should say something, maybe I shouldn't. But ultimately, I decided let's talk about the larger picture right now. Anyone who is remotely sensitive, even a tiny, teeny bit sensitive, knows that there's stuff going on and things just feel extraordinarily intense. And that intensity has been going on for years and years and years. In fact, we've been feeling it more and more and more since, 2012 hit. But as I have been saying for years now on my channel, all of this stuff really comes to a close around 2026. And right now in 2024, we are in this period of intense churning, of intense transformation. So we're going to talk about what that means, how is that reflected astrologically, and at a practical level, what you can actually do about it. So first of all, let's talk about two of the big guns. Saturn station direct on the 29th, Saturn station retrograde on the 29th of June, and that happened at 19 degrees of Pisces. Now it will station direct at 12 degrees of Pisces on the 15th of November. So end of June to mid-November, we have Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Now overlapping, we see Neptune, which is just stationed retrograde at 29 Pisces, the most intense sign of the zodiac. That happened on July the 2nd. And Neptune will station direct at 27 Pisces on December the 7th. So early June to early December, you got Neptune retrograde in Pisces. So you see there's a big overlap between the two. From just generally call it end of June to early December, we see a big overlap in the kinds of energies that both Saturn and Neptune are bringing through their respective retrogrades. So what does that mean in practice? It means that everything that we have been doing over the past few months, especially, let's call it, let's say as a general rule, what you've been particularly working on since March of this year, you're going to be reviewing that in a very deep, in a very powerful way over the next few months. This is not a time for you to be pushing for forward movement. It is not a time for you to be pushing for new things, but rather it is a time for you to be consolidating on what you have already been building in these past few months. That's the key here. That's the key take-home message. Because all you're going to do is make yourself even more frustrated, even more worried, even more bogged down by anxiety if you try to push forward in these next few months. Haruki agrees. But effectively, in these next few months, you want to review. Rather than making the goal as moving forward, look at the goal as, at the very least, holding on to the gains that you have made. This is a time to be treading water. It is not a time to be pushing through with brave new explorations. And as long as you have that understanding in your head, you will navigate the next few months with greater ease and greater comfort and greater peace of mind. Yes, there is a big push towards global transformation, and everything is going to have to be set in the first quarter of 2026. Everything. Every major spiritual decision, every major political decision, everything that is going to set a particular trajectory of evolution for our planet, that is going down, has to happen in the first quarter of 2026. So the stakes are huge. But that doesn't mean that you benefit by thinking about how big all of it is and kind of running around not knowing what to do. And the way to handle the situation, and as someone who also lives in this time, was also been dealing with major, massive challenges. In fact, I recently got diagnosed with a serious health issue, and I see, okay, timing wise, this is going to be shit for me for the next few months. I'm on heavy medication, but I'm just going to have to deal with it because that is pretty much the kind of energy that's coming up. It gives you the opportunity to look at the things that you have not fixed. It gives you an opportunity to look at what you already have done and what you already have known and to redo as appropriate. This is not the time to be super ambitious. This is a time for you to be looking at what within your home space, within your individual life, within your individual journey of karma, you can actually do something about. Does that mean that you should stay away from, helping other people or helping larger causes? Not at all. This is a time where people do need to be in support and in community with each other. However, there is a difference between doing the work and then getting on with your life versus sitting there, not knowing what to do, being weighed down by the suffering of others, and it impacting your daily ability to function. That doesn't help anyone. It just adds to that collective pot of woe that is already too full at this time. Do what you can to help others, but draw the line. The next few months, you need to be all about cultivating your inner peace. What is it that you need to do so that you can face creator, creatrix, whatever word you want to do in the next few years? And this is a time for you to get clean with everything. Even in my case, I notice, okay, one big challenge down. Now I see how that manifests in the physical, and we're going to go and just go through the process and get everything clear. So that is what Saturn is going to be challenging each of you to do, each of all of us. And I'm not excluded from this. All of us have to be doing this at this time. So how does that relate to Neptune? Now, when we look at a spiritual pattern, it's not just something that's happening out there. It's not just something that's happening in some esoteric dimension or realm that with no relevance to the present. Spirit manifests in matter. Everything is a reflection of each other. So when you have a material concern or something that is pulling your attention in a very powerful way in the 3D, there is always going to be a deep spiritual root to it. So look at the roots of what is pulling your attention at this time and clear out those roots if need be. A lot of people are addicted to suffering. A lot of people are addicted to service to the point that they burn out and they don't know how to stop. And even that is a spiritual choice and a decision that needs to be looked at, especially by the caretaker types who are burnt out at this point. Being one myself and having done this work for myself as well, I speak from experience rather than some, ideal pedestal somewhere. So this is a time for you to be drawing very, very clear lines and discerning through where you can give your energy and where you need to pull back your energy in the material and the spiritual at this time. I know a lot of people would like to idealize things, but that is not what I am about. Be very, very clear and very honest with yourself. That's what you need to do for the next few months, and to hold on to that commitment to truth. Which brings me to my third point, which is all about Borasisi. Borasisi is the energy of the false light. It also retrograded in early Aries on July the 2nd, same day as Neptune. And it will only really settle into Aries in early 2025. So this body is also going to be retrograding at the same time in this very, very pivotal cusp of Pisces Aries. And Borasisi is not a body that most people talk about. Basically, it gives you an understanding as to where people are most likely to have illusions about themselves. Now, your illusion could be, I am this, I am that, this is my personality, this is what I want, this is what I like. And sometimes it's not really reflective of the soul that you are. Sometimes it's something that you've picked up by programming. Sometimes it's a false sense of consciousness that someone has told you you have got to wear like a mask. So in the next few months, at the same time, through the second half of this year, the work is going to be about being humble and peeling away everything. Even if it's an idea or aspect of yourself that you think is very holy, very sacred, very spiritual, the more pedestalized it looks, the more likely it is you are going to have to tear it down. And you may see these three factors integrated. The material patterns that are locked into suffering, the spiritual roots of what it is that binds you to that situation, and false ideals of selfhood that may tie all three together. And this can be very, very challenging, especially if you are very, very fixed on seeing yourself as some kind of rescuer, savior, martyr, messiah type. This is where the work needs to be done, especially for people who continue to justify an addiction to suffering because it makes them feel sacred. That's going to call out a lot of people, I know, but that is at the heart of it. And given how much spiritual bypassing, how much whitewashing that goes on the spiritual community, it is a useful reminder for everyone. We are all being challenged to hold ourselves to that level of accountability. Do what you can. Do what you can to help the world in concrete material ways. Pray where you have no material influence over things. But then give yourself the permission to detach. You are entitled to a safe emotional and psychic interior space, irrespective of what is happening around you. That is one of the key things about spirituality. Spirituality is also about learning where you must have detachment and discernment, even in your exercise of compassion and service. And this is where a lot of us are going to need to unlearn some terrible programming that we have all imbibed through millennia and millennia and millennia of things telling us that sacrifice is what makes you sacred. It is not. So give yourself the permission to cultivate that safe interior space. Do what you can and draw the line and make sure you are also okay. This is a key message at this time. Last but not least, I do want to mention that Black Moon Lilith has also entered Libra. And if you're a member of my Tier 23 program, you know that I've already talked about this, but just for the collective so everyone has a heads up. 29th of June till 27th of March, we're going to be seeing Black Moon Lilith in Libra, and that can bring a whole bunch of stuff. As I was saying to my Tier 23 program, Black Moon Lilith is going to bring a hell of a lot of legal issues that tend to do with property rights, with interpersonal rights, even marriages, alimony, divorces. It's going to have to do a lot with even the rights of the state versus the citizen versus corporations. There's going to be a lot of conflict that is going to come up in the legal domain. And often it is going to come to the point of how much right women and those who identify and present as female have over their bodies, their possessions, their beings, their wombs, whatever it is you want to say. So this 9-month period, you are going to be seeing the shadow coming out very, very strongly in institutions of law, which are not aligned. But for the same reason, in the next 9 months, you are absolutely going to need to counter that, to challenge that, so that the fear that surrounds Black Moon Lilith does not result in a legal situation that actually disempowers women even further, and those who identify as women even further. So this is a time for you to really be contesting for your rights in the spaces which are relevant. And of course, shortly after Black Moon Lilith entered Libra, we see all of these decisions from the Supreme Court in the US. And that sets a terrible, terrible precedent. Which is why I said it's not about not doing anything in the world. It is about doing things in a focused way, in the ways that you can affect change. And then letting yourself come back to your personal space, your inner peace. You need to balance the two. I'm not going to tell any of you to turn into turtles and duck your head in the sand and always at ostriches. No, turtles hide in their shell. Ostriches duck their head in the sand and hide. I'm not going to tell you to do that, but I'm going to tell you to show up strategically and retreat when you need to recharge, replenish. And that is a balance that all of us need to find at this time. So, having said all of that, this is the major messages, the key lessons that I feel are going to be very, very important over basically through the end of this year. The first half of this year, there's a lot of action, a lot of movement, a lot of potential. That's why I was offering the Changemaker sessions. I'm going to be pulling that session back because now it's not the time to focus on that. Now it's the time to be treading water and to maintain the gains that we have made. So I'm going to be coming up with a new session in the next few days, once guided, and it'll be more attuned to what people need in the second half of 2024. Having said that, hello to everyone. I see Karine, I see Mozu, I see Michi. Lovely to see all of you. If you have any questions with regards to this or anything that is related to the general astrological energies of the times, let me know. Happy to answer whilst I'm here. But it is good to see you. It is always good to touch base with the community. Let me know. Otherwise, I can wrap this up quick. But this is the key information. And, bearing these lessons in mind, as harsh as they may sound, will help you in the next few months. Haruki says that I'm done. So having said that, I wish all of you much success and much peace in navigation, in always striking that right balance between discernment and compassion, what you need to do in the world around you and what you need to do in the world within you. They are all interconnected. Keep looking, and keep being honest with yourself, because that is the most important quality on the spiritual journey that I have found. More than any tool, any technique, any prayer, any teacher, anything. Nothing happens unless you are willing to face yourself honestly. And when you can connect to spirit, creator, creatrix, whatever word you use, from that space of authenticity, integrity, and honesty, that is when you can open up to grace, compassion, healing, forgiveness, and all of that good stuff. But it must begin with truth. And these next few months, that is the name of the game. So take care. Very many blessings. Lots of love. Ciao, ciao for now. Bye bye, everyone.